And yes, this is not a live stream right now. This is a video I am just recording for my client because he wants to see me paint this little puppy here. And we have had a little talk because these are not really my colors and I cannot bring this mini to life as a real. I like to paint miniatures like this in a more realistic style, but with these colors it keeps a little bit comic kindish to me. So I asked him if it was alright to make him in that style. And he said yes, he would love that. So, Genius Griever, thank you for that. That means that in fact I am going to make a drawing out of this. And one of the most basic things I will have to do is literally draw the lines. Drawing the miniature, which means lining. It's something that most people do without knowing that they do. Sorry. Lining is where there are two colors touching, or two kinds of different kinds of structures touching, like a piece of fur, and a piece of metal, or an eyeball and an eyelid. There's two kinds of surfaces that are touching. In a comic book, that would mean you draw it in with lines, with ink or pencil. That's what I'm going to do with this mini too. So for this video I am needing black, just ordinary black. I could use do I have the black line? Reaper miniatures does have a liner line that's specially made. No, it's a grey liner, would work quite good, but it's not as dark as the black liner, of course. What exactly the difference is, I don't know. I guess those paints are at least a little bit thinner than normal paints, so you can draw nice thin lines with them. Later on this, and yeah, well, so I am going to, well, I have already made a little bit of blue shadows in there. In fact, what I am doing is making more shadows, but make them very obvious. And normally you do that when you are a wargaming painter, and you use the Games Workshop method, just to give it a name. It's the main known source. You use a wash. Those shadings are in fact most of the time also lining. Only lining, it's a technique. And why should I line? Well, in this case, of course, otherwise I don't get that effect. But also it gives you brush control. It teaches you brush control. And that's one of the things that you can really just learn by doing it. And now I have to look. Yeah, I am on screen. Luckily with this part, there is a elevated part, so I can just follow this whole piece. It's in fact not so difficult. And it's already on a dark blue, so you do not really see it, the difference. But now I have to paint here also, as there is a rim, an edge, and thing that is a little bit higher than the rest. I'm going to do it over here too. And in fact, on all these, the practice is indeed the goal is to get nice thin lines that really separate the colors and the parts. It is in fact something you normally do when everything is painted. So probably I will have to do it at certain places again. I will check if I am. Oh, the eye is a little bit in. Yeah, there are a lot of eye stalks in here. Sorry if they are in the way. I am using a normal black paint. In this moment, this normal Vallejo model color black, standard black. I just thin it down quite a lot. It's still thicker than a glaze for people who want to know about how thick I'm making it. Now, this is what you would also paint in a comic book. Otherwise, on a flat surface as paper, you would not see all those ridges. And now we come to the fun part. The other side was a little bit easier. And I'm already going. As you can see, mini painting is quite a challenge sometimes. Not only about what colors to use, but also making sure you only paint that what you want to paint. Of course, I'll turn a little bit, maybe you can. My camera is a little. Wow! Now I made a big boo-boo, big mistake. So I go in with my big brush, and in fact, quite some water, and I literally wash it away. Wash the brush. I have to take another big brush. Oh, not this one. Yeah, that's one throw thing already. And that does count to my day total, so I put it on 1. I'll dry it a little bit. The whole surface. That's the. If you use very thin paints and you make a mistake like that, it's very easy to repair, of course. You just take a very wet brush and you can wipe it away. Oh, I have to watch out that I do not make the same mistake again. Also, I think that I am making the lines not too thick, but as this is supposed to be, as I said, a comic style painted model, I can make the lines a little bit bigger, a little bit broader, as that is no problem with that style. Normally if you line, so you painted the whole miniature and you are going to draw in all those lines. Normally, and you want to, you do not make very thick lines, you make them as thin as possible. Otherwise you do get indeed the quite comical, I call it, it sounds like a comedy, but it's not a comic-like mini. Now I am and as you can see, I also, because I am drawing those, and I'm off screen, yay, of course. Now it's a big eyeball, and yes, it does need a black line around it. Now, one of the good things that you can achieve with lining, except for that it really makes your model look better, is also every time you are painting with a different color near another color, you will have you will probably touch certain parts from the other color with the color you are painting, just small parts. Those parts I am now covering up. Normally, yes, you would do that with a wash. Well, normally, if you want to. This is a little bit more tricky, so I will keep my breath and my voice and my talking. Now you can already see just a little black line, and the eye does already look different. That is because now you have made pop the orange and the white, you've separated them. And it makes it look a little bit better. It needs to go all the way down. It already looks good, but with the line you get a little bit more, yeah. It just looks better. And this is something you cannot achieve with a wash. As with a wash it would go in the deeper parts of the eye, but never cover this part of the eyeball. Yeah, it would cover the eyeball, but would not leave a line there because there is nothing to get into. So that's, and it's a very thin brush. I'm keeping my breath again. I made a little bit of a and there it is. The eye does look different now. In my eyes, better. Good. I have to watch the time because, and this is what I'm going to do with the whole mini. And all, I will line a little bit over there. The first time I did hear about lining was from Anne Forrester Fuller. Oh, I have to look up the name in a moment if I'm going to talk about her. Sorry, I always... Anyway, she has a Patreon. I am one of her Patreons. And one of the first basics you should learn is lining, mainly for brush control. But also, yes, your mini does look better. It's not a thing that makes it look astoundingly better, but it does give your mini that little bit extra. I did paint a certain mini because, of course, I don't believe her. Did not believe her, sorry. I didn't believe that. Nah, that's That's impossible. Just some black lines on a Mini and it would look better? Nah. So I painted the Mini without a wash. Just the basic colors, highlights. And then I did line everything as she said. Sorry, Miss Fuller, Forrester, I don't know. I will try to edit that out. But it's already looking quite different. And that's the wrong camera right there. I should be having that one. Very nice, always good, close to the image. The Me Cam, yes, you are the wrong one. So sorry guys, but I will switch view. And there we are. Hello, I am talking to that while I'm technology, memory. Oh. Shame, shame, shame. But anyway. So the moral of the whole story is people that have been painting for years and years and years tell you something, please believe it. Even though it is a technique that you say, oh, it's boring. Yeah, it can be boring. But then there are a lot of people who say that Mini painting at all is boring because you all that finicky work and how can I don't have patience for that. Well, okay, I can understand that completely, to be honest. If somebody had told me 40 years ago that I would like this kind of stuff, I would also have said, you're crazy. I mean, I was 10 at that time. But I did have some interest in model kit building. An older nephew did that. And that is, by the way, how I started with this hobby. But those were really, well, big kids, but at least, well, more this format, but then with tanks and planes and everything. Good. And that's what I am going to try to do the next days. I will make a video of it. This will be the introduction to that, and line a lot more. And I will put it on YouTube. Put it on YouTube. But probably with a little bit more speed. So it's and I don't even know if I will be putting sound on it, probably just putting music on it, but at least you can all see how I line everything. Good. I have to prepare my next stream, so I would say thank you, and if you will like this video and my other videos, give me a follow, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.